27 years. 27 long years. That's how long it took them to destroy nearly everything we had built over the past thousands of years. The year is 2552, and humanity is about to be nothing more than a mere memory. For nearly 3 decades, humanity has been at war with an alien society known as the Covenant. When the war began, we had many to spare, many to spend. But then setback after setback, we lost more battles, and even more lives. Now, with Planet Reach being destroyed by fiery plasma until the surface was nothing more than molten glass, there is nothing stopping them from destroying humanity's last hope, Earth. Now, the United Nations Space Command is fleeing to all different locations in space, attempting to hide the location of Earth. One of the many ships fleeing was the Pillar of Autumn. Little did the captain of the Autumn know that this is about to be the moment that changed the war.
Cortana, all I need to know is, did we lose them?
I think we both know the answer to that.
Said Cortana, the ship's artificial intelligence, the best AI to have ever been created.
We made a blind jump. How did they...
Get here first? The Covenant ships have always been faster. As for tracking us all the way from Reach, at light speed my maneuvering options were limited.
We were running dark, yes?
Until we decelerated, no one could have missed the hole we tore in subspace. They were waiting for us on the far side of the planet.
So, where do we stand?
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now, nothing serious. But I've isolated approach signatures for multiple CCS-class battle groups. Make it 3 capital ships per group. And in about 90 seconds, they'll be all over us.
Well, that's it then. Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha. I want everyone at their stations.
Everyone, sir?
Everyone. And Cortana.
Cortana's hologram appears at the base of the monitor.
Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
I've already begun.
What Keyes didn't realize was how literal she was. As they were speaking, Cortana's voice rang an alert throughout the ship, bringing everyone up and to their stations. Throughout the large stations inside the shuttle, ships were taking off and landing left and right in various parts of this metal maze. And Marines were getting into formation, realizing it was going to be a very long day. In the lead of one of the platoons was Sergeant Avery Johnson, a longtime veteran in the UNSC and a hell of a soldier, his weathered black face showing the scars of his seasons in war, was only slightly obstructed by the grisly mustache across his lips.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
After the decimation of Planet Reach, Johnson knew it wasn't just their energy that was low, but their spirits as well.
Man, we let those dumb bugs out to the middle of nowhere to keep them from getting their filthy claws on Earth. But we stumbled onto something they're so hot for that they're scrambling over each other to get it. Well, I don't care if it's God's own anti-son of a bitch machine or a giant hula hoop. We're not gonna let them have it. What we will let them have is a belly full of lead and a pool of their own blood to drown in. Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir!
Damn right I am. Now move it out! Double time!
And thus the soldiers continued, their spirits heightened to what may be certain death. Johnson followed them with a slow pace, proud to be with the ranks of his men, even the newbies.
All you greenhorns who wanted to see Covenant up close, this is gonna be your lucky day.
All of the ship's assets were finally in place. Well, all except for one individual. The Master Chief was still in cryosleep until Cortana gave the command to the engineers to unseal his cryotube.
Sure? Right. Let's thaw him out. Okay. Bringing low-level systems online. Cracking the case in 30 seconds.
The chamber began to hiss as the cold air inside began to meet the heated room.
He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5!
Chief begins to wake up and hears the faint voice of one of the crewmen, Sam.
This tube shows green. Cycle complete.
The hatch opens up and Chief walks out of the chamber, trying to loosen up his joints. The crewman could do nothing but stare in awe as Chief's titanium boots clanked on the metal cage floor. After the usual testing of his cognitive reactions and abilities, they test his shield to make sure everything's A-okay.
Recharging normally. We're showing green across the board.
Bridge to Cryo 2, this is Captain Keyes. Send the Master Chief to the bridge immediately.
Captain, we'll have to skip the weapons diagnostics
On the double, crewman.
Aye, aye, sir. The skipper seems jumpy. We'd better get moving. We'll find you weapons later.
Okay, I'll leave the self-diagnostics running at least. Oh god, they're trying to get through the door! Security! Intruders in Cryo 2! Please,
Sam! Sam! Come on, we've got to get the hell out of here!
Quickly, the soldier leads you out of Cryo 2 and turn right into a hallway. Chief follows him down the hall to one of the doors, when suddenly the door bursts into fire and explodes, blowing the crewman back, killing him. He doubles back and hurtles over an entryway to his right, entering a separate hallway. Chief races down the hall, bursting through one door after another, explosions coming from either side. The ship is ready to fall apart. He crosses through a room, hearing gunfire and blasts of plasma, and sees a group of Marines combating the Covenant, with a few soldiers getting blown to bits by the Covenant's plasma grenades. With only handguns to defend themselves, they couldn't put up much of a fight. Only the Master Chief had a weapon. He hooks a right and continues down the hallway until a group of Marines is falling back as a squad of elites continue pressing the attack. They were tall, bipedal aliens with snake-like heads, and were putting up a hell of a fight. Luckily, one of the Marines closed the large blast gates, blocking the elites from entering. Chief continues to make his way through a series of hatches with humans and the Covenant fighting all around until he finally makes it to the captain's bridge. Soon enough, Chief finds Keyes at the center of the bridge, who still somehow looks unfazed at the conflict taking place.
Captain Keyes.
Good to see you, Master Chief. Things aren't going well. Cortana did her best, but we never really had a chance.
A dozen Covenant superior battleships against a single Halcyon-class cruiser. With those odds, I'm content with 3, make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
Suddenly, a loud bang and crash hit the ship. Captain Keyes and the Master Chief brace hard as the ship suddenly jolts in space.
Report!
It must have been one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Ma'am, fire control for the main cannon is offline.
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
All right, then. I'm initiating Cold Protocol Article 2. We're abandoning the Autumn. That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what, go down with the ship?
In a manner of speaking. The object we found, I'm gonna try and land the Autumn on it.
With all due respect, sir, this war has enough dead heroes.
I appreciate your concern, Cortana, but it's not up to me. The protocol is clear. Destruction or capture of a shipboard AI is absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're leaving ship. Lock in a selection of emergency landing zones, upload them to my neural lace, and then sort yourself for a heart transfer.
Aye, aye, sir.
Which is where you come in, Chief. Get Cortana off this ship. Keep her safe from the enemy. If they capture her, they'll learn everything. Force deployment, weapons research. Earth.
I understand.
The Autumn will continue evasive maneuvers until you initiate a landing sequence. Not that you'll listen, but I'd suggest letting my subroutines handle the final approach.
Excellent work, Cortana. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yank me.
Keyes then took to the monitor, pressed various initiation keys, and Cortana's hologram disappeared. He then took out a square disc with a hole in the circle that lit blue.
Good luck, Master Chief.
He then took the disc and inserted it into the back of his helmet, connecting it to his neural interface.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
I don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
Said Keyes as he hands you his pistol. Luckily enough, Chief finds some ammo on his way across the bridge. Immediately, he comes across some small grunts. These turtle-like enemies don't put up much of a fight. A few headshots later and Chief's going down to the hallway. Hearing some gunfire, he rushes to the room to give assistance to the Marines in need. Chief weaves left and right, avoiding fire, while dishing out his own. The Marines regroup, now with a new drive after seeing the awe-inspiring Spartan plowing through the enemy. Chief and the Marines begin cleaning house as they go through corridor after corridor, hallway after hallway, decimating the Covenant as the ship slowly tears itself apart. With explosions erupting, lights flickering, it's about time Chief gets off this ship.
The life pods are launching. We should hurry. The Covenant are destroying the life pods. They really don't want us on that ring. We have to use the ship's maintenance access ways. Follow the nav point. It will lead you to an opening.
He then goes through a set of doors into a dark corridor with nothing more than a set of hallways. Nothing can be seen except for the red lights across the maze of tunnels. He cuts on his flashlight and continues through the labyrinth, trying to find a path that didn't lead to more Covenant. Trying hallway after hallway, he treaded until he finally saw the way out. The area was clear, but not for long. As Chief progressed, he found more and more hostiles, and continued to pave the way to the exit. Chief and the Marines find one of the last life pods and rush in before the ship destroys itself.
Quickly, get aboard before it launches.
Oh no!
Now would be a very good time to leave.
Punch it.
Aye, sir.
A sudden thrust of motion, the escape pod burst from the Autumn.
We're disengaged, going for minimum safe distance.
We're gonna make it, aren't we, sir? I don't want to die out here.
Chief puts his hand on the Marine's shoulder to console him, brightening the spirits of the soldier and himself.
Look!
Chief hurries over to the other side of the pod, looking over the shoulder of the pilot. What he saw could only be explained as breathtakingly mysterious. Next to the planet was a large ring structure, with vibrant colors displaying the arranged biomes on the interior, and illuminated metal on the exterior.
What is that thing, Lieutenant?
Hell if I know, but we're landing on it.
She's been hit!
I knew it! The Autumn's accelerating. Keyes is going in manual.
The cruiser was blasted as fire was spitting from its panels in all directions. She couldn't take much more.
Heads up, everyone, this is it. We're entering the ring's atmosphere in 5.
Fire began erupting underneath the pod as they burned through the atmosphere, blasting towards the ground like a meteor.
Sure you wouldn't rather take a seat?
We'll be fine.
If I still had fingers, they'd be crossed.
Hey guys, how's it going? So, the reason why I made this was I truly love the Halo games, especially the original trilogy. They mean a lot to me. But I always wondered, if somebody doesn't like to play video games, they don't really have any chance to get to hear the story without going through the books. And some people just don't want to do that. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to try and compress the stories into these little 10-minute tales. These little 10-minute stories that you can sit through and digest and get all of the emotions that come from the story and all the feeling of the music. I wanted to try and do that, and this is hopefully the first installment of many of these, and it's hopefully not just going to be Halo. It could be basically any single player games. So hopefully y'all guys enjoy this journey as I basically give you a audiobook / video novel of the Halo stories. Either way, thank you guys for watching this. Y'all have a good day. Bye.
Oh, never mind. Push that button. Oh, that's not a button. Damn it.
That's a very strange fantasy.
It's just a smaller version. Ah!
Jesus.